Okie doke, everybody. Welcome to the Judy Jam. This is November 1st, 2018. It's noon. We're trying a different time, hopefully, to get some of our European people here. And hopefully everybody's awake now. Sometimes we do this and it's like, it's India and it's 3 a.m. So hopefully we have some fantastic people here and who want to speak and get paid to speak, and that's what we're all about here. All right, so let's just start. What I like to do is just to see how everybody's doing and what's going on. So everybody, this is Raj. I'd like you to meet Raj. After the Judy Jam is over, I will have some time where you can exchange emails. The best way to do this program is not alone. If you want to work with me, it costs you. But if you work with somebody else here, it's free. And the best thing to do is to, make time to get together with somebody else. I never work alone. I always work with somebody else, and it's just the best way to work, because otherwise, by yourself, you're not going to show up. You're not going to do it. You make a date and you go, hey, I'm going to have the message of you formula done by next week. And that is totally feasible. And then at the next Judy Jam, I'm going to present it, or I'm going to email it to Judy and I'm going to say it. And then we go, oh, wow, that's great. You got it down. Now let's write the speech. And now once you get your message down, I'm probably going to ask you to put it on video. And when you get the message of your statement down and you put it on video, it's all you have to do is talk to the camera, just like I'm talking to you now. You don't need anything fancy. You don't need to hire anybody. It would be nice to have a blank background behind you, because then we can put up things. But you know what? Just talk your message to the people who are going to be hiring you. All right? Because that's going to be your core. And until you get video of you performing or whatever, your message is going to be what gets you gigs. So okay. And I can show you today, if you haven't seen it, I'll show you some of my students who put together the message view statement. Whoa, it just got blurry. You didn't get drunk. And that's it. So this is Raj, everybody. He's our new member, and he is an anesthesiologist, and he is going to be finding his message and putting together a speech. And so welcome. Yay. All right. All right, so let me go through everybody here and see. Dr. Rich, tell me what you've done and what you got going, and then I'm going to go through the homework that people have given me, and then we'll get together. I'll give you an assignment, and you'll work with somebody. So, hey, Dr. Rich, how you doing?
I'm doing good. So I'm on Module 1, Video 13, Finding Your Heart Story, and I've been working on that. I've made a lot of progress because, as you may remember, I was not doing my homework too well, but I had lots of good excuses, but I still didn't get it done. But now I feel like I'm getting caught up. So my heart story kind of surprised me, because as I thought about it, I tried to think of someone I had helped and went through all of those questions and came up with a person I would have never thought of, and actually remembered several things that had exchanged between us, which could be of value in using it in a speech or some type of story. So that's where I'm at.
Okay, great. Now, can you tell us in one sentence the heart story of you went from this to this? What did you go from to?
So I went from not really able to think of any one specific person that I had helped to.
Oh, this is your credibility story.
Your credibility, yeah.
Okay, because your credibility story is about the effect you had on somebody else. That's like, I took somebody from this to that. Who did you help take from what to what?
So I helped someone from confusion to super sensitivity about everything everyone had ever said to her, to giving her some strength and some big picture things that she could use to frame her life and be a little more resilient.
And as a result of the advice you gave her, she's now what?
Actually, she's out there helping other people with her same problems.
With her what?
With her same challenges of sensitivity toward others. And so she's able
And how
to.
is she helping them? Did she become a therapist? Did she become?
She's a faith-based person, so she does it through her church.
Oh, all right. And from that, she is no longer a victim. She is, she is no longer volunteering to be a victim. She is helping people. She is making effects. She's changing other people's lives as well. Because and then you can go from there. We all can create a ripple effect of inspiration, right?
Yeah.
Like,
I guess that's right. Yeah.
you help, because that goes, when we do our credibility story in a speech, it goes right into a call to action to the audience. Who can you help today? Because if every person helps another, this is how we transform the world we live in, right?
Perfect.
So our credibility story of who we've helped and how she's helped becomes a call to action and your first action step. Okay, that's how, when you get to module 2 and you write your speech, that's how that goes. So good to you, for you. Crystal?
Thank
Crystal?
you.
Hi.
Hi, where are you at? And what are you doing?
Okay.
Check in.
I finished the first course. I'm actually down to the fourth one. And I've been doing my homework.
Okay, here's my question.
Yes.
I'm going to show you something, and I was wondering if you were able to then, let's see, can you see this?
See a black screen.
Let's see.
Oh, finding your book.
No, it's not that.
That's there.
It's here. 1 second. I'm sorry. It's not there. It's this. Are you able, did you fill this out?
They can see me?
I did.
Okay, great. So you'll be able to tell us today, right?
Okay.
You'll be able to tell us that today. That's awesome.
Yes.
All right. So when we break up into groups, I'd like you to practice doing that. All right. With telling, because before we can go on, we've got to have this down. All right.
Yes.
And those of you who are in the enhanced course, once you get this done, or even if you're flailing with it, you get a 30-minute private with me, which is just enough time to for us to work this out. Okay. And finesse it. Dawn, how are you doing?
Oh, the turquoise. It's in the kitchen.
I'm doing fine. How are you doing, Judy?
Good. So where are you at with the message of you?
I was finishing up lesson 9, like some of the other folks. Life comes in, so I had to set it aside, but I'm getting back to it. Was just understanding your audience's problems and just starting to go from there into lesson 10, finding the paying audiences.
Okay. Now, have you found the problems of the audience? Have you found that? Have you found some of them?
Yeah, from the notes I took from the lesson, if you're helping one of the big 3, the wealth, the better relationships, or health. So I guess mine would be more towards the wealth, because I teach presentation skills to folks. And so I guess
give me one problem people have.
I'm sorry?
Give me a problem then that people have.
So a simple one would be they're not getting promoted because they're not able to give effective presentations to either their clients or coworkers or staff.
Okay, great. That sounds good. They're not able to get, promoted. Okay. And what are the consequences of not being able to get promoted?
Well, they could get stuck in it's depressing. I know this from real life working for the state of California. It's when folks who shouldn't be promoted are, and you're not, let's say. It's a little depressing. And we all have some light to shine as far as what we do. And being able to speak effectively is part of that. And so if we don't do that, then we're not hitting our maximum potential of what we could.
That sounds really, really good. I would even try and get to an act out. When we do the prom, it's really good to act out the audience. So I would go, why is he getting promoted? I'm smarter than he is. I work harder. He leaves early. Why am I being passed over?
Yeah.
Why aren't I making as much? Oh, and then we'll blame something. Oh, it's my age. Oh, it's this. Well, it could be something else that I'm going to show you. Now you suck the audience in. So when we try and get to those act outs, that's where we really connect with an audience.
Gotcha. Okay.
Okay. But you are absolutely on the right page because you're not reducing the problem to just a bullet point. I really feel you understand it and what it feels like. Okay. And now, who else? Victoria.
Yeah, I wonder if that would qualify for this type of assignment. I came from former Russia. There's nothing.
Which one are you on? Which homework is this? So I know.
The one that who am I, and what message what message do I give to people? So
Okay. What effect do you have on other people? Got it.
Okay, so I came from. I'm a Russian. I'm Jewish refugee. Came from former Russia. Came to United States with nothing, totally broke. Became a physical therapist, a healer, and even wrote a book, autobiography for my mom who survived during Holocaust, which gave her new gave her wings to live longer, gave her purpose of life, and also became a stand-up comedian, did some comedy. So my message, I want to give people message. If our parents usually give it to their children and don't expect anything back. I want to give people a message, give them something. And this is going to be a very big.
What audience do you want to speak to?
I already talked to somebody about it, and they said that there is a Holocaust museum in LA, and they're going to have some kind of event coming up, and I can maybe speak there.
Okay, let me give you a little advice.
Yeah, please.
Okay, let me give you an advice. You might have noticed that being an immigrant is a huge topic right now. And there's a lot of people who are saying that immigrants are taking away our jobs. They are taking away our well-being. They're rapists. They're anybody, that's it. Recently, we've had the horrible tragedy in Pittsburgh with Jews. You are a Jewish immigrant, right? I think you have a very important message, and I think you should start speaking at synagogues on the topic of immigration. Who are we and what we can become and what we can contribute to the world. I feel you need to blog about it. You need to talk about it. You could probably get on television right now if you really put out your message.
Okay, how do you put humor in that?
Humor, here's what I tell people. If you're funny, it's going to be funny. You don't worry about it. Nobody pays people to be funny except in comedy clubs, and they don't get paid much. There is more value in having a message that transforms people's lives and opinions. You need to be on a mission. You need to read what is said about you and people like you. They are telling lies about you. Okay?
Yeah,
lies.
That's true. That's true. People would
they
say,
are telling lies.
You're taking our Social Security. Like my mom, she came.
Okay, we're not going into your speech right now. No, we're not going to story because we don't have time for everybody to tell their story. But I think you have to this is not the time for you to focus on how to be an entertainer, but this is time for you to focus on your heart story and learn how to tell it with the message of, these are lies, and let me tell you the truth.
Oh, I also would like to promote my
And
book.
once you get your speech together, you could call up and do it at a synagogue, and any synagogue would welcome you on this topic.
I'd like to promote my mom's book too.
Well, it's not promoting a book, it's promoting your message. Don't get the two of them confused. Once you start promoting your message, all sorts of things will start to happen for you. Okay.
Okay.
Rala.
Hello.
Hi, where are you? What are you doing? Have you been slacking, Rala?
Yes, I have. I have actually been slacking. But it's because I say excuses and misfortunes, the results are the same. However,
having said that,
I have a juicy excuse. Although I'm totally committed, I'm really behind the 8 ball. On the other hand, I'm very committed and already doing many of the things that I'm working on here, in speaking to some groups publicly, even some large groups, about cancer and the work that I do with cancer patients. And
all right, here's the thing, people. Did you hear what I just said to our Jewish Russian immigrant about, do you understand how important it is for her to get her message out?
Yes.
Okay. You need to put that fire behind your ass.
I hear you.
We all need to put that fire behind our ass, because when it's about you and your problems and I can't get to this and my life is in the way.
Well, I wouldn't do that, by the way.
But I'm saying that it's not about us entertaining people. It is about us needing to deliver a message because we are passionate about it, because it's going to affect the world. Now, when you start putting things out and it's the right message, you're going to be shocked. All of a sudden, things start to click, 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 click. And maybe you volunteer to speak at your synagogue, your church, and all of a sudden, someone there, you go speak here. Next thing you know, local CBS channel wants to shoot an interview. Then it's the Today Show. Then you're getting a book deal. Then I mean, when you hit on the message is what propels you. So we first have to totally get into our own message, and the message is only as good as how it affects another person. So if we're going like, I need to tell my story, I need to be about me. It's all about me. That's not at all what it's about. It's really about what tools can you give to somebody else to help their lives. Okay, so just keep that in mind. All right, so Annabelle, did we do you yet? How are you doing? I'm just quick check-in.
Okay, I'm doing really well. I sent you some homework, but I was finishing 3. I was finishing, module 3.
Fantastic. Well, I'm going to get to that a little later. Okay, I'm going to get to all homework today. So that's good. So we'll talk about what you're doing when I get to the homework. It's totally awesome. And let me just keep going and go to Sarah. Sarah. I'm so glad. I'm really happy to the people who've rejoined with us, who are going to be working till the end, till you're out there doing it. So Sarah, I'm going to hold off because I want to spend the time with you working on the stories you gave me, which I have ready to go. Okie doke. So good to see you and excited to work with you. Okay. Mike.
Hi.
I know how you're doing. Awesome.
Yeah. Oh, thanks. I have to rework the heart story I sent you, and I'm gonna do that. I started.
Yeah, I want to show it to people though, because I really want to show you people how to tell a story that so it really hits home. Because there's some very specific things everybody needs to know, and we're going to work on that in just a little bit. Okay, in just a little bit. All right, so hold on. June, how are you doing? I got you, June. I got you. Say it. Wait, oops, I'm unmuting you. You're unmuting
Sorry.
you. Okay, go ahead.
I am so happy that you changed the time because it's 9 a.m. here in Honolulu, and it's perfect for me so I can get on your calls. So I vote for this time in Honolulu.
Well, I think I'll have one time like this a month and one at later on, so everybody has some,
That's great. Thank you so much. And then the timing couldn't be better because I just had a call with my marketing coach, and she was talking to me, like she said, give me your elevator speech on the message of you. Like, what are you about? And I'm like, oh, I'm getting on Judy's call tomorrow. My book is waiting for 2 more weeks for a go at the publisher, and I'm hoping to hear back from them. My website is coming together.
When you get with somebody today, we're going to have
like
a quick thing.
Yeah.
What I like you to go through your message, and I'll put it up on the screen before we break. Okay.
Awesome.
All right. And Janice, good to see you here. Wait. Okay, go ahead, Janice. Hi. Oops. Okay.
There we go. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, so I was hired recently. I had 2.5 weeks notice to conceive of, write, and deliver a speech about stress, but not your typical let's do mindful meditation or exercise. So I dug up some research and talked about reframing your thinking, gave them 3 takeaways. We did 3 breakouts. I videotaped it, and I videotaped 2 testimonials. Now I've spent a lot of time making a 10-minute clip of the hour, and now I'm trying to figure out if I should be emailing a pitch letter with the 3 takeaways and the snippet, and then follow up with phone calls. I'm worrying about the marketing.
Well, I have a tip for everybody today that I've learned because I had a really intense conversation with one of my speaker bureaus that I work, who books me all the time. And I showed her the one sheet, and she said, that's great for clients, but we need something else. We really need, when we sell you, to have like a sheet in front of us to show us like how, and this, I'm going to show you this sheet. I'm not going to focus on it today, but I'd like to show you, show you this sheet, because I think this sheet is going to be very helpful in really figuring out marketing. Let me share it with you right now. All right, mind you, this is a sheet that you don't give to the client, but this is, oh, and I just lost it. Oh my goodness. Here it is. Okay, give me 1 second. All right. Okay, this is one sheet. It's actually not front and back like a typical one sheet. It is one friggin' sheet. Okay, and let me do it so you can see the whole thing. That's what it looks like. Okay, so, and there's a picture here that I guess isn't coming in, but I don't know why. What?
You can just see it on the smaller version.
Oh, let's put a smaller version. Okay, there we go. Okay, so here it is. It's Judy Carter, speaker, MC, humorist. I found out they really need a lot of MCs for these events. I gave this to Speaker Bureau, and I'm already up for a gig as an MC. So which clients would be a great fit for Judy Carter? So I put my topics here, right? I put 4 topics. Content-dense conferences. So you can see, I can take a screenshot of this or whatever, but this is really like, how would you sell yourself? Who would you sell yourself to? What are your key selling points? What are my prior engagements? And I'm the right choice for clients who want to treat their group at the very bottom here. I want to treat their group to energy, hilarity, relevance, irreverent yet HR appropriate humor. Wait, this is, I don't know. Audience participation. So I put like all the selling points of myself. So I think that's something that we all can think about once we really get our message down. Now, how do you sell yourself? Who do you sell yourself to? So anyway, I sent it to a speaker bureau and they go, thank you so much for this. It's great. Okay?
Mhm.
So there's that. So Janice, that's something. And then of course, you know, we need it's really good. Pull some clips out of it. And you might want to have on your clips, on your sizzle reel,
Yeah.
to have like word come up. What do you do when you're on, you know, what do you do when employees are disengaged and facing burnout? And then you cut to you maybe doing 1 minute with a message. And then you can have another thing come up with, the theme of it. And you can do it like that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, Julia, how are you doing?
Good. I've been out of the loop for I think I missed 2 calls, so I have to
Yeah,
kind
I
of
haven't seen you in a while. I've missed you.
I just was traveling. It just so happened both times, so I couldn't do it. But I have created a message of you, sort of I think it's like 4 minutes right now, which I'm trying to kind of piece together with quotes and whatever. But I just have me on a white wall right now talking. So
you got it. Okay. Well,
and I do
have
I have videos of me speaking, a couple of them. They're not great. They're not my best speeches, but you have to go with what you have right now. So,
you know what? I hate everything I do. So,
I know. And then there's that.
So who knows how good or is good. You can, but do you have the message? Are you able to do within 2 minutes, just like what do you talk about and do it a la this formula that you see in front of you right now?
I don't have that memorized, but that's what I used when I did this is what I wrote my script
All
from
right.
when I did
So
my
when we break into 2, I'd like you to do that. All right, to do that.
Mm-hmm.
With your whoever you are hooked up with. Okay. Okay. All right. And then we have, so Raj, Mike, I think that's, is anybody, did I skip anybody? I know Carla will get to you. Carla, I have your stuff, right?
Yeah.
Where are you at? I want to go through some of your stuff when we come back.
I finished module 1, I think, and I jumped ahead to the heart story in module 2 because I thought that's what we were doing today on the jam. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome. I think people are of different places right now. And what I'd like to do, first of all, did I miss anybody here? Did I miss anybody? No, I think I had everybody. I am breaking in 2s. And what I'm going to do with this is I'm going to have you, it's not going to be a lot of time to tell your heart story unless you tell it in terms of my heart story is a truncated version of it, of going from a mess to whatever success you went through, from your bottom to your top. So the heart story is very important because it really shows how you use the techniques that you just gave everybody. And it really says, I always get into my heart story by going, you know what? These what I've just taught you works. And I'm so committed that you use them because of the effect they had on my life. I was blah, 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 blah. Okay? A little tip on heart stories. Okay, here's a little tip. And we're going to talk about this a little bit later on, is that a lot of people tell a story in terms of things that happened to them. When I was 7, this happened. When I was 5, this and this happened. Then this happened. Then this happened. This happened. That is not a story. That's kind of a Wikipedia entry, right? It's not a story. When we tell a story and we're an adult and it's about us as a child, you want to try and start with today. I'll give you a quick example, very quick example of my heart story, which is about 10 minutes, but I'm going to give it to you in 30 seconds. I start the story at my peak, recording The Message of You, my book for Audible, at a fancy recording studio put together by my New York publisher. And in recording the book, I start to stutter and can't say a word. And then I go, and in that moment, there I am, 7 years old with a speech impediment, and I'm that person that you take out of the class. And then I go back to my past and how bad it was, right? And I let the audience peek in like that. So I start now, go back in time, and I've just left the current story where I'm in a big recording story and I'm making a fool of myself, making a complete fool with the engineer that they flew out, the director that they flew out from New York is going, the word is incessantly, say it. And then I cut to my father's going, say it, Judy, say that word. And in that dramatic moment, sends me back. And then I come back to the current story and have an end with a message about all our successes start with a mess, which is the point of the story. So, like I say, you don't want to necessarily go chronologically, this happened, this happened, this happening. It's a character with a problem, and that's how you have to start your story off, okay? So because it's weird when you're 50, 60, whatever, how old you are, and you're going, so when I was 7, it's like, why is she talking about being 7 now? So we have to kind of get into it from something that happens today. And those of you who, thank you so much for listening and to the Message of You, the Power of Purpose podcast, because everybody who wrote a review, I sent them my journal, How to Find Extraordinary Stories in Ordinary Day. And you'll find that the life you're living now, every day, every time you get angry, that's a story that hooks to your childhood. But you can get into it from something that happened today. Okay, because heart stories are not always, my father died, my mother died, this tragedy happened. They're always happening, these stories. So I'm going to break you up into twos, and you're going to have like, I would say 10 minutes, 5 minutes each, to either practice the message of you, the message of you state, your message, and see what that feels like. Or you can, tell a bit about your story. You can use this to practice, and then we'll come back. Okay, and then I have homework from people, and from looking at how I correct that homework from the people who submitted, I think you'll have an understanding of how to proceed. So let me break you up into twos, and let's see. Okay, here we go. Breakout room 1. Janice and Jen. Okay, give me just, this will take 2 seconds. We're going to put Raj and then I'll break him on 3. We're gonna whoops, just sorry. DT. Okay. All right. And Julia, you'll work with me because you're not, otherwise we have an odd number. Okay. So you'll see something, click on it, and keep track of the time, 5 minutes per person. And then Julia, you'll be here with me, and we'll go from there. So click on to join the room.
I haven't looked at this in a while.
We're recording. I'm with Julia, and we're going to work on her stuff. Okay, go ahead. Everybody else is off, meeting in 2x2s.
I hear. Okay, so I'm Julia Roberts, and I help writers get unstuck and get unstoppable.
Okay, hold it 1 second. Can you give me 1 second? I have to set a timer.
Thank you.
Timer. Okie doke. So, and just give me 1 second again. And I am going to put up this. Okay. Okay.
Okay.
You know how, use this formula. You know
Yeah.
how.
Okay, I'm glad you had that up. So I have here, if you're a writer, you know how we get stuck, procrastinate, get frustrated, and sometimes even talented writers just give up. I'm a writer, so I know. I
Okay,
also
hold it a second. I feel that can be more compelling.
Okay, great.
Okay, what is it? What are the consequences of being stuck? Like, really, let's dive into it.
Okay, so stuck can cost you years of your life.
Yeah, but I want the minutia of it.
Okay, for
what's
me,
it like to be stuck? Don't do it for you. You know, you say, you think.
I mean,
You
for
say
me,
active.
it's food. I mean, often you get caught over drinking, overthinking, and overeating. That's
Why? Because get into the pain of it. What is it?
So, if you're a writer, you know we get stuck, and when we're stuck, it's not just I can't write.
Let me explain it to you. Like
I think I hear you. I'm just trying to get there.
Like an act out.
Like an act
God,
out.
I got to work on that book, but just you know what? You know, I got kids, I got this, I got that, I'll get to it someday. And now 10 years have passed. How's that book going? Right? And then you see other people doing it, but not you.
Mm-hmm.
And what does that feel like? It feels like there's this kind of like self-hatred you have about yourself. Why can't I do it? Why can't I face it? You really have to emulate. You have to say in words what I'm thinking. And that's the way this will work. Does that make sense?
Yes. Actually, I was pleased to hear your thoughts that they're different from mine, but that's interesting. Okay. So I think every writer gets stuck, but some writers get back in the saddle relatively quickly, and some spend years watching other people succeed, sitting home, thinking, I can't write on, I can't do that, it's too big for me, it's too much.
Yeah.
Thinking I have kids, I have job, I have things to do, and I'll get to it later. But years can go by. My mother is 88 and still working on a book for the past 50 years. I'm not kidding. She still intends to write every day.
One day she's going to write every day. That's right.
I mean, sometime between physical therapy and taking her meds and opening her endless mail, which takes up her entire energy day, she is still going to write on her book, which is so sad and, I don't know, hopeful at the same time. Writers hope to write, and we hope to not be noticed that we're not writing. We hope not to notice it ourselves, and so we sometimes outstrip it by drinking or eating or shopping or gambling or just any of those self-loathing sort of behaviors. We all have different ones. But so stuck is a black hole that is not does not make for a good life.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
What's the biggest fear, given that everything you said? What is that fear?
Why don't we just write?
Mm-hmm.
There is a very deeply seated need to conform. And that fear is that we'll step out of line, be noticed, and shot down. Whether that's, by a predator or a teacher, you know what I mean?
It's interesting because a lot of people go, every time I talk about what I want to write about, everybody says, that is so great. You should put it into a book. That is so good.
Yeah.
I've heard something, and I think this rings true for me, is that writer's block is the unwillingness of the subconscious to become conscious.
Okay. I think, well, we're recording. I'll write that down. Yeah, I would say that differently, but I hear you. I would say it is unwilling to make real what you would rather hold as hope.
I love that. Say that again. Say it again.
It's unwilling to make real what you would rather hold as hope. We all love hope balloons, and we don't want to try and mess it up with reality trying.
Because perhaps you might have the fear of
not doing it as well as you can imagine it.
Yeah.
Not doing it as well as you imagine others could do it.
Yeah.
It's your dream. Nobody can do it
failure.
as well as you.
If
Mhm.
it's still someday I'm going to write it, then you don't have to even look at
Right.
your
I mean,
failure.
one day I'm going to be Amy Poehler and write that great book, and I'm going to be, but
Yeah.
at 88,
Okay, go.
you have
Okay,
to
let's
narrow down.
let's finish going through this.
Okay. I think we kind of covered the problem. They're stressed, they're
Yeah.
overwhelmed, whatever.
Yeah.
My credibility is that, I'm a writer, lifelong writer. I think sometimes when I'm at a speech, people will stand up and say some list of complaints or reasons that they can't write, and I just say, okay, well, I would recommend you quit writing. And everybody in the whole room cracks up. None of us can quit writing because that is always a viable option, right? So I understand that incredible compulsion to write. So in trying to, get that going for myself and trying to get through that frustration, I became a coach. I then became a creativity coach. We're talking now, 2 different programs and adding up to about 1.5 years worth of studying. Now I've coached for 8 years, and I also have my master's now in creativity. So finally, I'm just honing in closer and closer on how to unravel this head game that we're all in. And the one that I think really just started taking me out of my asthma was the Masters of Creativity, really just allowing me to have objectivity about it instead of feeling, as I often do, at fault, at risk, all those things that are all about me. Somehow the science of it just really freed me from the meanie in my head. So that's my credibility. Does that?
Okay, so let me. Credibility didn't hit me. I have to be honest with you. I have to say that you got. When you say I'm a coach,
yep,
your credibility would be I've had how many clients,
Mm-hmm.
and my clients, what have you, are now. One was on the Today Show. One finished a book. She got a publishing deal. I need to say you're a coach is meaningless unless you say, what have you coached people from to? What is the success? I need specifics. And I would not, credibility is not anything about you. It's nothing personal. It's what have you've achieved. For my profession, I'm having published 4 books from da-da-da-da, and
okay.
being a professional coach from, and 5 of my clients have, it needs to be extremely specific, number-wise, and also having my work published by, whatever you've had it published by. These are just naming.
So, okay, I'm reading that wrong. So let's see. I'm a 3-time published author. The first time my first book came out with Working Press, and it was a Motherhood to Otherhood. It was a book for mothers.
I would just like this would be 15 seconds.
Okay.
So
I have 3 books published. One was the first one came out traditionally with Working Press. The second one I self-published in order to actually just sort of run the gamut on marketing and figure it out. I had 4 sponsors, and I went on a media tour from Maine to Florida with this book called Are We There Yet? My third book came out from an independent publisher and, debuted at #1 on Amazon. It's called Sex, Lies, and Creativity, Gender Differences in Creative Thinking. It was based largely on my master.
But I wouldn't tell stories. This is 15 seconds, no more. Because this whole thing should be 1 minute. So you have really quick.
Mm-hmm.
For my professional experiences, having published 3 books, and having won this award, I show people, I speak on Tell Me Your Topic. So it's like, boom. I would put from my professional experience, having been interviewed by Oprah, having sold 4 books, keynoting over 800 events. I speak on. It's like, you know what I mean. You just want to go, hey, I'm the real.
So would you mention that I was a brainstormer for 25 years?
What?
I was a brainstormer for 25 years. Would you mention that?
Did you get paid for it?
Yeah, that was how I earned a living for. That's what I did. I brainstormed for every company you can think of. If you named a company,
How many companies? So I was a creative brainstorm head of. Give me your job title.
I was literally a freelancer. I went in, brainstormed or strategized on every brand.
I was a strategist for Fortune 500 companies for 25 years, providing creative solutions to their marketing. For, just make it so I can understand it that way. So I would tighten up all of this, right? And just try and follow, because take out story, because it's just, how writers have this issue, da, 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 da. Well, I've been a professional coach, taking my clients from, to becoming, from stuck to becoming published authors, as well as working to unstuck Fortune 500 companies as a brainstorming coach for companies such as FedEx, It's name dropping, things that I will get, right? Okay. All right, hold on one second. Okay, we are done.
Thank you for your help. I appreciate it a lot.
Yeah, it's good. I just would, and get it into wordage that hits home.
Yeah, I'm going to go back. I'm going to do this again. I have this.
I would. Okay. Okay. I'm going to close all rooms now. Stop share, and I have to open up this. Okay. All right. Okay. So we have Sarah. Heart storage. Okay.
Hey, Judy, I have to get my kids in a little bit. Would you mind starting with mine quick?
Who's that?
Sarah.
Sarah? Sure.
Yeah, I have to go pick them up from school, and I have to leave.
Sarah. Okay. All right, Sarah. Okay, I got it right here. Then we'll go Carla, and then Mike. All righty. Okay. Let me give me 1 second. Sure. All right. Okay. All right. So, who's this?
That's mine. That's Carla's.
Oh, that's Carla's?
Mine is right over here.
All right.
It's not.
Okay. I think we've got Janice typing again. All right. Okay. Okay. Is this Sarah? Is this yours? No, that's Carla.
Yeah, it's right behind it. I see it on the screen.
Okay. Oh, there we go. Okay. Okay. Do you want to read this?
Okay.
Just kind of read it quickly.
What you said was really good. So I was wondering, did it make sense? Okay. The reason this is so important to me is because I spent the majority of my life reacting rather than making choices. When I was still in diapers, I began being sexually abused by my foster brothers. That is just so you just don't start there, but I didn't know how to start. This continued until I was 8 years old. During this time, I coped by dissociating. To dissociate is to separate or disconnect from something. I became a master at disconnecting from my body, from my feelings, from anything that scared me, hurt me, or required too much energy. I learned to hate others, and more difficult to overcome was that I learned to hate myself. I believed that I was worthless and only there for someone else's pleasure, and I learned that no one was coming to my rescue. Therefore, no one was trustworthy, and I would have to take care of myself. You want me to read the whole thing?
Read the next paragraph, and then I have an idea for you, okay?
After one of my foster brothers was kicked out of our house, on a very small piece of what was going on, and the other brother went to live with him, I barreled through life with what I learned. That meant continued dissociation, but it could apply to anything I wanted to do. There was a disconnect in my brain between what I did and the consequences that would come of it. I had watched my foster brothers do things in secret and not have any consequences and have the pleasure they desired, and I learned to do something similar. To avoid consequences for anything I did wrong, I lied. I became an expert liar. Why wouldn't I? And I lived an impulsive, reckless, angry, needy, gluttonous life. The coping skills that got me through that scary time and after became my way of life into adulthood. Add to this an emotionally dysfunctional relationship with a key person in my family, and you have a recipe for disaster. I was a mess, and the scary thing was, I had no idea. as I read that, I'm like, oh, that's such a chronology. I just, yeah.
No, this is a great first step, and very brave, very, very, very brave. Let me just say, sometimes we want to start with our eureka moment.
Mm-hmm.
You were saying that you lived an impulsive, reckless, angry, gluttonous life. When did you were a mess? When was your first step at confronting this?
That was the story a little further down there. One day after the triggers had started, I was standing in our kitchen and my husband approached me for intimacy, and I was triggered right back to my childhood.
I'd like you to rewrite the story and start it with this is really difficult because this is a very difficult topic, and I want you to think of it when we think of our stories, think in terms of a movie. Okay? And I want you to think of it in terms of what is the first scene. Okay? So the first scene is there you are. You're with your husband, right? And maybe give a little backstory. We got married, we fell in love, it was great, I love him, you know what I mean? He's handsome and fit, whatever it is. And I'm doing dishes, and all of a sudden he touched me. And what did he say? I mean, be in the scene, right? It's because of what has happened to you, you are removed from the story, right? So we are removed from the story. Does that make sense? So you might want to start the story there. And he touched me. Now and what did you say? What did it mean? What did he say? What happened? You know, when we say we're triggered, that's kind of afterwards looking back at it. But if you are there, now there's a technique you can use of going into your mind. Now, before we go back to the past, what we want to do is do this technique when we are triggered. It's like, oh my God, I can't do that. What's going on? Short staccato sentences. Don't touch me. Don't touch me. Why am I saying I love him? But don't touch me. And then all of a sudden, so we have several voices in a heart story. We have the voice of the scene that's unfolding and you at the sink, right? And then we have the voice of you going like, and then we have the narrator going, I didn't know what was going on with me. And all of a sudden, there I was in a memory that was extremely painful. It was when I was 7 and da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Okay? So start with your husband, who you don't understand why you're reacting to this way. And then there's another technique. The technique I gave you when we tell a heart story and we go backwards, the technique that gets us into that is called expanding time. When we have a traumatic experience, time is expanded. We see this in movies all the time, of the car accident, and we slowly see the car and we're reacting to it. Well, the same thing in storytelling, where it's things that happen quickly. Maybe that's one moment, but in the story, it's like, don't touch me. And it's staccato words. Okay. Now, when we go back to the past that launched you on therapy to come to a realization, we want to do condensing time. If this took you 5 years, you went to this therapy, and I learned, and it has a repeating phrase. I don't know if you have a copy of the Message of You book, but this technique is where we take 5 years and we tell what happened very quickly within 1 minute, but it has a repeating phrase. And it goes, and I got better. And I got better, or whatever the repeating phrase. And I went to this and da-da-da. But it still didn't work. Whatever the repeating phrase is of that 5 years of your discovery, there's a repeating phrase in it. And then you might want to condense time. Does that make sense? So rewrite the story and have it start now. Have it go back with the expanding time technique of that moment that sends you back. Go back and tell that story of the past. What was that moment? And then if you want to give a lot of information, give it in 1 minute with a repeating phrase. So those are the techniques you can use to write this very difficult story, right? And then what is the message you want to leave the audience with this story? Oh, sorry, I don't hear you. Say, what is it? Sorry, go ahead.
That you can go from surviving to thriving. You can go from chaos to order. You can make that. You can make your life look like the easiest way.
Janice, I think it's Janice is typing again. No, it's not you. Who's, I got someone, anyway, yeah.
It was done.
Okay, whatever. So this is a very important story for you to tell. I will work with you on it. I think it's an awesome story. It's just, it's a difficult story. So and if you're telling it to women, you'll have no problem telling the story. I don't know if it's appropriate in a corporate environment. It can be. It just depends. Sometimes when you're doing a corporate event, you don't want to be that vulnerable for your own health, your own mental health. How much we reveal. But I've seen a lot of people tell a lot of very dramatic stories in a corporate environment that's blown people out of the friggin' water. So the rules are all gone. So let's work on this story. Do not change it except for rearrange it with my suggestions, okay?
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, holy shit, because I'm feeling she can do it, so can we, right? I mean, that's the message, right? Carla, I have your story here. Does anybody have any questions so far about this? Let me get Carla's story out here. Come on, Carla's story, open. Here we go. Here it is. Okay, Carla, do you want to read this? Unmute yourself. Carla, donde está? Oh, I got you. Okay. Oop.
Am I there yet? Here we go. Okay.
Go ahead.
Little jinx. Okay. Just tell me when to stop. The reason this is important to me is that I'm a survivor of lupus, congestive heart failure, and a stroke. 16 years ago, I was lying in the hospital bed, put on 9 drugs, seeing 4 or 5 teams of doctors every day, and had just been told I'd be getting chemo and losing my hair. I wanted more than anything to reclaim my health and to sing, write songs, and play the guitar again. But there were some things getting in my way. My left hand wasn't working. I couldn't even hold a piece of paper, much less play the guitar. I had neuropathy. It hurt to touch anything with my left hand. Personally, there were things stopping me. I was depressed and hopeless and had gotten used to feeling lousy. I didn't want to be on the drugs, and sorry, I can't quite read that. And, oh, I'm not good at and don't like taking care of myself. Then things got worse. Oh, this is when they told me they would be putting me on chemo, which would make me lose my hair. My insurance didn't cover physical therapy, so there was no help for my left hand. And then my eureka moment, my friend Sarah Lynn came to visit me. She brought a bunch of magazines and then started flitting from topic to topic, all ADD-like, as she often does. I'm also ADD, so I love it. She's very fun and funny. Finally, she made me laugh when we got on the topic of maxi pads and how the ones with wings are so annoying. It was the first time I had laughed in a good while. We started improvising lyrics about things that shouldn't have wings. I stayed up all night scribbling lyrics on a paper napkin, and it was like I'd sprung back to life, laughing, being able to distract myself from my troubles, and being creative. It was then I realized I could.
Okay, I'm going to hold you right here, okay?
I can't read it anyway.
Yeah, because of time. Again, wow, good story. Bad for life, good for speaking, I would say. I'm going to look at this. It was the first time I'd laughed in a good while. Where in the beginning of the story did we see this happen? You say, I was depressed. When we tell a story, you don't announce what you are, you do the scene. You do the depression scene. So if we're heading to this point of despair, we have to start the story. I'm sorry, I have the Apple death thing here happening. Oh, here we go. Okay, so this story would start with, I would do a scene of you singing at a club and, you know, happy and, about to go home to whoever you're going home to or whatever it is, right? And then you have the inciting incident. Okay? So you have an inciting incident. I have to see it happen. Right? Does that make sense?
I'm confused.
All of this, there's no scenes in it.
Okay.
You're announcing everything. There's no story.
Oh, we're not adding things. We're redoing them.
Your eureka moment is you finally laughed. I didn't see the scene of you being so depressed or laying there and a friend comes over and she says, come on, we're getting in bed. And I can't get out of bed. And she's yelling at me and I said, get out of here. And then I decided to close the curtains and not have people come. You don't say I was depressed. You do the scene of you being depressed. Does that make sense?
Yes, I was a little lost because I was like, that's not factually accurate, but I see it was just an example.
Yes, the example is were you always depressed? So you start the story off with a place, maybe you were happy or you're creative or you're playing guitar. I don't know what you're doing, but then there's this incident where all of a sudden your hand doesn't work, or how did, what happened, right? And then you have, again, the time expansion in your head. Oh my God, what am I going to do? I can't think, right? Then you can have a condensing time. And then for the next 2 years, I remember you have that great song, my anesthesiologist, my da-da-da-ologist, my da-da-da-da, and it didn't work. And da-da-da, da-da-da-da, and it didn't work. And then I went here and I had this serum, and it didn't work, right? And then I became someone I didn't recognize, right? My friend came over and she's telling jokes and I couldn't laugh. I had lost the ability to laugh. So you do it in scenes. What's the first scene? What's the second scene? Does that make sense? And then when you do the narration, you can do the expanding time or the condensing time. Does that make sense?
I'm a little overwhelmed and also concerned that my heart story is going to be 3 hours long.
No, it's actually, no. It's like your eureka moment is your friend came over and you began to laugh, and that's when things changed. But I didn't see the scene where you lost the ability to laugh. Who was there? What did the room look like? Does that make sense? It's all narrative description, 1 step, 2 steps removed. I'm a survivor of lupus. Where are you when you find out you have lupus? I mean, it's all in scenes. Scenes take place in a room, outside, in a garden. There are other people there. Does that make sense? You just don't describe it all. Do you know what narration is and what a scene is? Oh, can you go to the door and sign for it?
Judy, would it be like a narration or dialogue? Does that make it easier to understand using that?
Yeah, a narration is, I had lupus and I'm a survivor and congested heart failure. Okay, that's a narration. A scene is, I'm at a club called The Bottom Line. I'm on stage playing a guitar and my hand doesn't work. And I'm going, oh my God, what's going on? And, and it was, describe the audience. Where are you? That's a scene. Okay? So when we tell stories, we do scenes. And then we can have narration. And that's how that works. Does that make sense?
It makes sense. My question is any of this in the book? Because I'm honestly not going to retain it just from...
Okay, got it. It's called, yes, it is. It's called the expanding time and the condensing time. And I can send you the Message of You journal, which shows you exactly how to write this.
Okay, great. Yeah. I used the formula. I used the formula to write this.
Yeah, and it's almost there, but it's not in scenes, but it's very close. But here's the thing. At the beginning, we have a character in a certain location who wants something. Where are you? What do you want? And what's getting in the way of it? And you find out and you blame the doctor. See, I would do this story. Maybe the story starts at the hospital and you want to be healthy. And you blame, like, maybe you're not doing your treatment good enough. And then you blame the doctors that they're not getting you well. And then you blame the hospital. And you're blaming everybody until your friend comes over and you realize that it is what is going on inside you that you're not getting better. Because you're so depressed and you've lost your desire to be better. And you've lost your desire to laugh. And maybe that's, if your eureka moment is that you've laughed, then I would have the beginning be, all the obstacles be your blame. Okay? All right. Now, usually I work with people on stories several hours. So I'm trying to do the best I can in 5 minutes. But
okay, that explains why it feels like a big task for
no, email me. I'll send you, the journal because you're in the workshop. Okay.
Okay, great.
All right. I mean, I send people the journal when they do a review on the Power of Purpose podcast, and I will send anybody who writes a review this journal, which is about storytelling. And anyway, please send me homework. Did anybody else send me homework that that I can? I that's all I think I got. Did anybody else send me anything? Mike, you sent me that. Annabelle, Annabelle? I'm going to unmute you. Hold it. What did you send me?
I don't know if it's relevant, but I had finished section module 3, and so I did the jokes.
Oh yeah, let me get to those. Hold it. I don't want to turn anybody away. Carlos. Okay. What is your email? It starts with what?
Annabelle 1654 1654 Annabelle.
Got it. Okay. Thank you for letting me know. Okay. Give me 1 second. Okay. Can we all see this? Let's just do this. This is a good thing to end with. Okay. Do you want to try it? Give it to me, Annabelle. Dating is hard. Give it attitude hard. Go ahead.
Dating is hard because men and women have different ideas of what they want in a relationship. Women want a wedding day so they can remember her entire life, her wedding dress. A man wants a wedding day so at the end of it, he can finally see her undressed. Women,
okay.
women in a women in a relationship want a man who can give her a house to turn into a home. A man wants a relationship, a house, and a woman he can turn into a housekeeper.
Okay, that's good. The first one I would have not what they want in a relationship, what they want in a wedding. A woman wants a wedding dress. You know, a woman wants to get married, and wants a wedding dress, and a man wants to get married and wants a woman who doesn't wear a dress, right?
Yeah.
You know, I would make it kind of like, okay, go ahead.
Okay, so then I tried them versus me, and it's scary. Rich people say their goals are to help the poor. My goals are to get off of their list of charity recipients.
Okay.
Rich people say their goals are to not lose a fortune in the stock market and to invest wisely. Well, my goal is not to lose a fortune in my couch and sign my credit card before it expires.
Sign my credit card. I don't get that exactly.
Yeah, that's kind of weak, but yeah, it's weak. It's weak.
Well, you just got to make sense. Okay, and then you did the top 10 formula.
Yeah, okay, so you're miscommunicating with your German, mechanic. Do you want me to go through it, or
when he tells you he understands? Is it a car mechanic?
Yeah, it's a car mechanic.
Okay, you're mixing with your German car mechanic. Okay.
Yeah.
When he tells you he understands the problem, what does that have to do with German?
Just the language barrier. But
yeah, I think it's I would change this because this doesn't have to do with German and it's confusing. I would change this. You know, your car mechanic is a misogyn, or just say has talks to women differently, talks to female clients differently from men when he says, do you know what I mean?
Yes.
I would do it something a little more loaded than because I didn't understand German karmic. I mean, you got to start with the premise. You know, your karmic karma is, talks to female clients differently from men when he says, oh, yes, you know, and then, yes, you need a new car because there's a spark plug that's broken. You know what I mean? Or, when he puts you down and thinks you don't understand anything about cars. And then a pen is like sex because?
This gets bad. Okay, because you never go as far with the cheap ones.
I wouldn't go far because cheap ones don't last as long. Okay. Yeah. You need a pad because they leak. Okay, low graphic. They both can give you hand cramps, hysterical. The black ones get respect. The blue ones are worked extra hard. Okay, because they leave stains on the sheet. They can't stop until they are completely tapped out. They make messes that you don't want to touch. If you stick one in your mouth, God, Annabelle looks so sweet and nice. Look at all of this. It's not as good as you thought when you take it out of its packaging. Oh my God, hilarious. What's the ones you are usually okay, well, this is pretty freaking funny. Yay, that's the winner. Listen, guys, I'm going to leave this channel open for you to exchange emails with each other. I'm just going to step away and turn off my video. It was great seeing you all. And I just want to tell you our next Judy Jam will be on November 22nd. Oh, that's going to be 6 p.m., not 7 p.m. But I'll send you an email about it. And so you can all look into the chat. Just give me 1 second.
Judy, that is Thanksgiving Day.
Is that Thanksgiving
Oh,
Day?
wow.
Yes.
Then we
No,
have to
it's
change
Tuesday.
it.
It's a Monday.
You
Let's
said the 22nd is a Thursday.
All right, then we have to change that. My fault. So let's see. Can you all see my calendar? Let's just get a time that works out for everybody here.
You're right.
How about we meet? How's the 15th on Thursday?
Okay.
So I'll change that.
What
time? Let's see. So let's see. Change that.
9
to-
a.m. 12 noon.
Do you guys? Does this time work out well?
Yes.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
Thursday.
the 15th at noon.
Yes.
Okay. Since you guys are all here. And you see that'll automatically change on that calendar. So when did I say? So it's the 15th at noon. All right.
Yeah, perfect.
And I think I am in town then. All right. Everybody vote. Go out and vote.
Thank you.
Yeah.
All right. And I'm going to leave this channel open. Give me 1 second. I'm going to stop the share. You guys can see the chat here on the side. Upload, Crystal. It didn't upload. Well, send me an email you tried and I'll send you the journal. So type in here, make dates to get together with people. And I'll see you in a couple weeks. You guys are all doing awesome. It's just do the work.
Yeah.
Do the work. All right.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks, Judy. Thanks for your help today. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
My name's Pamela. I have a quick question. Sometimes she starts at 6 p.m. Sometimes this one was early, right? She started at 12 or 1 or something?
Noon. Mm-hmm.
Noon. What is your preference for all of you?
Noon.
Noon.
6 p.m. is late for me.
Yeah. Anybody else? Is noon okay for everybody?
Probably everybody on this call.
Oh, that's why we're here.
That's well said. Well said. Because I'm in Europe and most of them I can't make because it's 3 a.m. here. So I'm just going to send her an email.